All right, guys. So, um, it's 2015, and I was coming off the cusp of living with my sister. I just lost my apartment, and I was being undone. They were really trying to. They were trying to do me in, like totally. And around this time, I was discovering that my uncle, my father's brother, and my sister was heavily involved in this gang stalking. And I'll get into their stories another time. But this time I'm coming off the cusp of living with her, and I'm having to find shelter elsewhere because I'm discovering that they're a part of this. Now, I didn't discover what gang stalking, the word, the term, the whole organized Stasi program situation. I didn't discover what that was until 2017. But I knew something was being done that was planned out and that was schemed out. And so I at least knew that much. So I'm reaching out to my ex-boyfriend because at this point everybody's being wiped out. I'm being isolated. I'm losing family members and friends, and so I'm down to my last drop. I hadn't talked to him since probably like the latter part of 2014, and it wasn't really on good terms, but we were somewhat cordial. So I reached out to him and asked him if I could come stay with him for a little while, because at this point I'm having to rebuild. I'm essentially homeless, which is what they've been trying to do to me my whole fucking life, is put me in this predicament of being homeless. So, I'm talking to him about, the plan that I have to come and stay with him for a little bit, to get up on my feet, try to work, save up a little bit of money, and get me an apartment and essentially move, because at this time he was living in a small town that, was really country and not a lot of work. So I knew I wasn't going to be able to actually live there. So a lot of work that needed to be done. I was just trying to rebuild my life and, pick up the pieces from all the shit I had been through, just going from place to place to place, from people that I thought were my family and friends that were openly and aggressively betraying me. So I get there, and at this point, he's working a new job. He's making a lot of good money. He's doing well for himself, which is cool. It was a good setup for me because he was traveling a lot for his job. So I felt like we don't have to see each other often. That way we don't have to argue or bicker, because we had just come off the cusp of making a final decision to go our separate ways after trying to rekindle our relationship back in 2000, and I believe it was 13 and 14, I would say. We were trying to rekindle, and it just wasn't going to work. He wasn't very happy about that, and I knew that. But again, like I said, I was desperate, and this whole thing had been orchestrated, you see. Me having to go and ask him for help so that he could essentially be my handler. So I won't go into a whole lot of the details because, like I said, this is still under investigation. But what I will say is that while I was staying with him, I began having a lot of ailments in my body, in my genital area. And, very overt kind of ailments, things that you really can't ignore. And, I was just kind of feeling like, something's not right. I was always dealing with nausea and short-term memory loss and just a lot of illnesses. And I started getting suspicious about it because, just your soul is telling you something's not right. So I decided that I was going to leave, and I went and tried to stay with my younger brother, who was also a part of the gang stalking. And so, my being with him didn't work out. But while I was with him, like for a week, he didn't live too far from where my ex was living. So I traveled, there thinking that I was going to make that, a permanent spot. But again, like I said, that didn't work out because he was a part of the gang stalking as well. But while I was there, I didn't experience these issues that I was having in my body. And so I was able to put like two and two together that something was happening. So when I got back, because I had to go back with him, because like I said, they were running the game on me. And they were all working together, mind you. This is something that I learned later on down the road. But they were all working together. But when I got back with my ex, when I got back to his house,